Geiser Fab is working on this car right now, and they're in collaboration with UPFIT. One of the things they are doing is all of the panels in the car are going to be carbon fiber, super light.
The extinguisher's hanging, and those are drink bottles. And those drink bottles are quick change, so we can get ice every pit.
Wow. Yep. All these things that they think of, the gas pedal. What is this?
That's a shifter so that we can run the fuel cell down the middle. So believe it or not, you guys are probably familiar with a master shut-off battery switch for racing. Well, this is all converted. Right behind you is a 300 amp solid dedicated circuit that is monitoring voltage, and we can turn the batteries on and off with this simple button right here. That's now the battery shut off, instead of having to do that clunky system that usually breaks.
But take a look at these trailing arms. All of the bosses, the gussets. It's really, really skinny. It's not clunky.
So this complete control arm system with billet spindle and multiple brake caliper mounting, so you could run a stock system or a Brembo. Cycles with 1/8 of an inch, 1/8, eighth of an inch of bump steer through full cycle.
Holy cow.
And completely chromoly TIG welded, giant 1-inch uniball. Basically the same thing as a Class 1 car that doesn't wear out. A lot of thought was put into this car. The guys at Geiser and Cory and Sean spent sleepless hours on the design process. It's coming together really, really well.
You're gonna see this car at Baja 500. Is it gonna be badge fender?
We'll badge it up there. So it's probably gonna be black and two-tone nickel.
This is super insane. This is so fun. We flew here in a helicopter. Justin over here flew us here. I walked into Geiser Fab a couple weeks ago, and Justin was talking about this car that you were building. It's hard to tell what it is without the hood on it. But with the hood being on it, you can tell it's a Pro R. The car is just so beautiful. What is your thought process on this? What did you take from your family and then bring to the table from your own expertise and design?
Kind of based it. Justin came to us and said, hey, let's build a race car that nobody's done before. So me and Sean and Justin all sat down and kind of said, what can we do? What's going to be different? What's going to be the next best thing? So it was build a light car, a wide car, and a low center of gravity car.
That low center of gravity, because the Pro Rs are kind of, they look and feel like a lifted truck,
right,
in a way.
Yep.
And so when you walk in, you're like, is that an X3? You know, because it, without anything on it, it has that low center of gravity. Yep. You know, what else do you want to talk about? I mean, there's a lot on this car that, I mean, you got a flex capacitor over here.
This is what makes time travel possible.
Right.
The thingy-bopper?
Yeah, what is this?
That is it's a rollover valve for the fuel system.
Come take a look at this.
So
okay, got it.
If you flipped over, the little
Right.
ping pong ball sticks in the, plugs the hole essentially, so it doesn't dump the fuel out, but that's your fuel vent.
Okay.
So your tank can still expand and contract and do whatever it needs to.
So it's not a thing where you hit 88 and the tire's
No.
going. Okay.
Nothing cool like that yet.
Got it.
We're working on that. Between us and Justin, we're working on that.
What's going on inside? I mean, do you literally have to climb over the frame to get in here?
Yeah.
It's like a
Trying to do your little duck with your helmet on and shoot into the car and hope you make it.
So are you painting this orange and putting a 01 on the side?
Yeah. We're gonna work on that. That's after the 500. We don't know if it would go that well in Mexico, but maybe after the 500.
He's not going to tell you how cool this car is,
Yeah.
because he designed and built the whole thing from scratch, literally from a blank TV screen, CAD drawings, everything was Cory and Sean. And I'm going to start from the beginning in the front of this thing and kind of take you through some of the cool stuff. This is all Geiser hand fabricated aftermarket suspension, high clearance, all chromoly, rod ended, adjustable for alignment. But take a look at this spindle. All the joints have been turned vertical, so you no longer have a pin with a ball joint or a uniball that's pivoting this way. It's vertical, which means you've got no restrictions in travel, and it's a large uniball system, way bigger than the car would need, but overkill is usually best in Baja, so that's exactly what this is. Aluminum spindle, all the factory stuff still bolts onto it. All the shock therapy goodies are on these, but this car will actually have electronic sway bar control after the 500 as well. So you can turn them on, turn them off. You can turn more sway into it, less sway into it. That's kind of a secret we'll let out right now. We'll talk about later. Light bar and front skid plate, completely removable. You pull a couple of pins and that slides right out of the frame. Skid plate and with little fins on the side. This is all carbon fiber, but these side fins are covering up the boot, so we don't have any bushes and brushes that kind of cause leaks. We also have some for the side on the spindle and cover these boots as well. By the time we go to the race, that'll be on there. Ton of carbon fiber in the car. Cory's been working his way from front to back, replacing aluminum panel with carbon panels. It's kind of a genius on the carbon side of things. You should see all the levels and processes that go into creating a carbon panel. There's, I mean, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn for you, Cory, but at least 5 or 6 different things that you have to do to go from an aluminum panel to a functional carbon panel. And that's all done in-house at Geiser. These are Geiser nets, which are a folded aluminum, lightweight, adjustable system with tight sides, obviously with hostile. If you take a look on the inside, carbon dash, center console will be carbon soon. All the electronics are state-of-the-art. The wiring in the car is full mil spec. Best thing that you can see on a trophy truck is exactly what's in this. Fuel cell is a center console cell so that we can sit on the floor and get my fat ass lower for center gravity like we talked about. Yeah. And a lot of fuel, 43 usable gallons that we can change or fill up with that pressurized fuel system in under 12 to 15 seconds or so, 43 gallons. Engine, tranny, drivetrain, there's no horsepower added to it. We want reliability, and the power is necessarily what wins races anyways and off-road. If you look at the shock assemblies in the rear, these are an ECS2 cooler, which means that the shock, every time it cycles through, it pushes oil through one hose, a one-way check valve, and oil back out the other hose. So it's a circulatory system, which forces hot oil to get cooled off. And that's super important in Mexico when the whoops are big, especially in like San Felipe, where you can overheat a shock pretty quick. We've seen 360 degree shock temp, and we usually try and shut it down or slow down at about 300 degrees because Loctite melts at 300, start to come loose on shocks at that point. So 280 or less is what we shoot for. The cooling system has always got San Felipe at like 250 or less degrees, so it works really good. Low center of gravity for the tire, easily replaceable. Also, we built this way so you can stack them, because some areas in Baja we want to have 2 spares.
Yeah, if you have another spare on here, you're not even blocking.
No issue whatsoever.
Yeah.
We might change the shock settings on the dash, which all the computer assembly in this car works just like a Pro R. You can cycle through all the adjustable shock settings during the race. It's got panic button and everything like a normal Pro R does as well. Mounted system throughout the whole car. You can see little tricks like this one. Rock guard for the oil filter, because we've seen guys get rocks and put a pinhole in a filter and lose a race. Covers for all the electronic wiring and everything else, so you don't get something come up there and rip it off. And of course, gutting arms to match the fronts. And all the coolers that we could stack into Sing, clean air systems everywhere. If you had the panels off of it, it might look more like a Elon Musk spaceship than it does a race car, but it's all hidden.
Is this part of your clutch cooling?
It is.
Right here?
So that NACA duct on top, the 4-inch diameter NACA duct, and believe it or not, that's the most efficient way to get air into a hose as opposed to like a hood scoop.
Yeah.
And we haven't had any belt issues at all so far.
But one thing I experienced with my Garmin is on top of the road, and I'm still 100 yards away from the road. And the Lawrence is just more accurate, and that's why he said that's the route you guys are going with the upfit cars, stuff like that. And that's me, because I'm literally like, where is the road sometimes?
Yeah.
So refresh rate.
Refresh rate is typically how these things are scored. And the quicker the refresh rate, the more accurate you're going to be on the mapping. And if you're coming into a 90 left at 100 mile an hour, then you really want to know that you're coming up on it at the right time and not blow the corner. So that's one of the reasons that we run that.
All right, so should we rip this thing?
Let's give it a shot, man. Let's do it.
So I'm standing in my garage just trying to pinch myself, thinking, what an awesome day. Thank you, Justin Smith. Thank you, UPFIT UTV. Thank you guys for watching.